Hey everyone, Ariel Labs here with a blog to watch, here to review the Apple Watch Series 10. I have two versions of it. I have the aluminum version and the titanium version, and there's a lot to say about what they did this year. It's also the 10th anniversary of the Apple Watch, and a blog to watch and myself have been there all along from the first one in 2014 all the way now to 2024 with the Series 10. This year, as I wrote in my review article, they really emphasized beauty and shape and form, both technical ways and aesthetic ways. The most important thing for most people is that the Apple Watch is now thinner, about 10% thinner. It was never a particularly thick watch among smartwatches, but now it's even thinner, a little bit more rounded. It looks sort of the same from a distance, but Apple changed everything. The crown is different, the case is different, the screen is different, the case back is different. It's all different, and so many parts on the inside also needed to be re-engineered. Apple is really into aesthetics, of course. That's a core part of the company, and you know that they're really into image. The Apple Watch looks nicer this year, and they put a lot of effort into making sure that it doesn't have necessarily just more functionality and software, but the watch itself has a new presence to it. And I think that really the story begins here in the aluminum. It's not the very first time Apple have done this, but it's rare for them to have polished aluminum that's shiny. People like wearing shiny things. That's an attractive thing. If it's sort of a dull or a matte surface, it doesn't have a polish to it, it can look not as nice as a polished thing on the wrist. Apple has had the steel ones for a while and other metals. This year, they decided the focus for the Series 10 was anodized polished aluminum in a few colors. This is the black version, and anodized colored titanium. This is the natural tone titanium. As you can see, it's also polished. So titanium is going to be more lightweight than steel. Aluminum, of course, is also lightweight. And with the titanium version, you get other upgrades, including the sapphire crystal over the screen, which adds more scratch resistance and makes it a lot more like traditional luxury watches. Another thing which is new for the Apple Watch Series 10 is the screen. And there's a couple of things I think are really important for people that like aesthetics and want the Apple Watch to be an expressive item. The first thing is it's the biggest screen they've done. And it was interesting, they were actually comparing it to the first Apple Watch, which was great at the time, but yeah, has a much thicker bezel. So here there really isn't a bezel. The screen goes all the way around. It wraps. So it's a large screen proportionally. Also, it has a wider viewing angle. So according to Apple, what they did is they opened up the aperture of the OLEDs, each individual one, so you can see it from more of an angle. So of course you could see it looking straight on, but now as you turn the watch, you can see it much more easily, which again, according to them, makes it more like a traditional watch you can see, obviously improves legibility, but makes it more real. It makes the dial feel alive as though it was truly three-dimensional. And the last thing I'll say about the improved screen is the higher refresh rate. The always-on screen has been a feature for a while, and I've always said that's fantastic, but it had a refresh rate of each minute. Now they've introduced a refresh rate of each second. So you can have an actual, this is sweeping now, but when it goes into the always-on mode, it'll start to tick. So a once per second refresh rate makes the dials feel even more alive. Some of the dials take advantage of this, and so I think that's a big deal. They're small incremental upgrades, but of course the other new features, all the Apple Intelligence features, some of the new complications like the tide chart, which is really cool, that's more that you can learn about some of the specialists, talk about the software. Here at Blog to Watch, because we know so much about the aesthetics and the materials and the hardware, really want to talk about the improved wearing experience of the Apple Watch Series 10. You can see more on blog2watch.com now. Prices start at about $400, a little bit more for this 46mm long version in aluminum, and about $800 for the titanium version. Thanks.